these are some of the most exciting results, some of the most exciting scientists I've seen here in my lab in these 40 years. So let me tell you a little bit about David, okay? So, and you know, I'm going to take my time because I think David deserves to be fully exposed here. So, okay, so David, let me tell you about these. You know, there's two parts to a scientist: the scientist and the man. So the scientist. So he got his bachelor in science in New Mexico, in Socorro, New Mexico, at the Institute of Mining and Technology. I understand Socorro is a beautiful place, one of the most beautiful places on earth.
It is.
And David would agree.
I would.
And this was back in 2008. So his fields of study were both mathematics and physics. And we have some distinguished mathematicians here, and I'm glad you also get the physics part. It's sort of 10% the mathematical, but he's got mine. He has both. And then he moved on to the University of Alaska in Anchorage. And the field of study was biology, but the degree says none, which is interesting. and then he was there until 2012, and then he came to Vanderbilt for a PhD degree in cancer biology. So remember, so he has no background in biology at this point. So he's come here, and he was very welcome. And you know, I was gonna say a few things, but then I read the biosketch that he wrote for himself, and I said, you know, I couldn't possibly say better myself. And so my interest, this is David's interest in systems biology, originally stemmed from my interest in the theory of complex systems. That's a good start. Since I was introduced to the ideas of complexity in 2008, I've been fascinated by the ability of systems to self-organize, and that applies to us, and for high-order features to not trivially emerge from interactions between simpler components. And then in 2011, I became aware of the growing field of cancer systems biology, and the rest is history. So he made it through the quantitative and chemical biology program, and for some reason, he came to my laboratory, and I think Carlos was instrumental also in recruiting him to cancer biology. Okay, so let me say this. I'm going to say a few grandiose things here, because this is the time you get to see it, to say them. So the way I look at students when they come to the lab, okay, so when a student comes, you know, sometimes the student adapts to the laboratory, so takes sort of the life of the laboratory. But sometimes the lab adapts to the student. And I can say that for David, you know, and either way it works. For David, the latter was in fact the case. So when he came, he already had a good idea of what, so the lab adapted to David. So the project that he picked was actually a project that was developed in an obscure corner, corner of the laboratory. And a little bit of time, sort of, David, with a couple of other students, you know, just took over the lab. And this is a classic case where the tail is now wagging the dog. And in fact, it has become the dog. And, okay, I really would be remiss not to mention that because of his clear thinking, so this is not a quality that I sort of give away or, you know, easily, but because of David's clear thinking and his continuous striving, you know, for clarity in expressing his thoughts, you know, he was instrumental in producing at least one very important paper that has been the foundation for a lot of science we're doing now in the laboratory. And in fact, this paper published in Cancer Research has been noticed by the faculty of 1000, which is an honor given to papers, you know, that have a certain value in our field. So you should be really proud of your son. But I'm giving you a
even more, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
I know. I've been a son myself, but I still have a son. I also would be remiss not to mention that almost single-handedly, and I have to give credit to David for this, he was almost single-handedly framed a very large grant, which was funded. That's important because, you know, at the end of the day, we need inspiration, you know, to do science. I mean, greenback. And then yet another large grant, even larger, David pushed forth, and that was also funded. And so I at this point, I can confidently say that David, from my point of view, was a very good investment. Really good investment from our group. In fact, I think, David, that you can consider yourself a job creator. So, okay. So what did David do, besides doing excellent science? And the lab, you're going to hear about the science. I'm not going to cover that. I mean, it would be, it's not for me to talk about David's science today. But David so presented this science as had many opportunities at important institutions. And for example, I presented at Dana-Farber Cancer Center, that you can see on TV during ads right now. At the Broad Institute, he's also presented at the Society for Mathematical Biology. He made some very important connections. And in fact, through all of these things and these publications, David already has found a job, and yet he had actually a difficult choice because he was being recruited at the Salk Institute, he was being recruited at MIT, there was an MIT Harvard, MIT Broad connection, and in the end he went to Penn State, due to the presence at Penn State of an important mathematician, Rebecca Albert, who is now interested in systems biology and so on. So, one thing that I always say when I introduce students to their defense is hopefully they learn something from me, particularly. But I also learned something from the students. So there is really, so I've been thinking last week, what did I really learn from David? Something that I can put in one word. And so this is what I learned. So almost 2 decades ago, when I got into the business of systems biology, okay, so a mathematician made the following remark at the conference. And he said, here is the difference between biomedical researchers and the mathematicians. So a mathematician speaks about very few subjects, but in a very precise manner. You may know this quote. A biomedical researcher, on the other hand, speaks about a lot of subjects, but in a very imprecise, vague manner. And I think this is fundamentally true. And so, but one of the things that we need to do in the field of systems biology is we sort of have to...
Attention all Children's Hospital staff. The U.S. News and World Report celebration is happening today from 2 to 5 p.m. in the theater on the 2nd floor. Come by and join us for the celebration.
Good. Looks pretty good, actually. Okay, so when these worlds of mathematics and biology collide, we've got to do something about it. And so, because this is necessary, this collision is necessary to biology. And so, I think that the world that they come up with, that has been sort of an inspiration, and perhaps a key to its success is approximation. So, we don't know things we can approximate. In fact, there are mathematical tools to approximate, and it's perfectly legitimate. I see that head is going to get a little, but it's okay. So, and I think, I see David smile, so you know exactly, those late afternoons where we sort of have to work things out. And approximation doesn't mean make things up. It actually means approximate, so as close as we can, to the truth. Okay, finally, there is one additional word of, one last, additional word of gratitude for David, and that is, about 2 years ago, he really helped me frame the cancer system biology course, that I've been teaching in the spring. And I think it's very important, and this work has now been continued by other students in the lab, like Sarah. And I also should say that David has been a fantastic mentor for other junior and also junior students, as well as postdocs. Okay. So, as I said, you will hear about the science part from David. But as I told you, one of my tasks is also to introduce David as a man. Yes, scientists are also men. They do stuff, fun stuff. And I think the best way to do this is with images. Okay? And so, fasten your seatbelts. This is going to be a 3-minute story to that. Turn the lights off. And yes, David, this is going to be embarrassing. In case you're wondering.
I have no question.
Florida.
Alabama.
First chemistry set.
Magic here.
That's kind of irresistible.
I hope you're wondering what the soundtrack is.
Yes, I was a roadie for that band. Oh, that's true.
Something definitely here, right?
Yeah.
Ain't got no money, ain't got a dime, ain't got no baby to help me get by. I got high in Santa Barbara just to make it through the day.
That's
That's the band.
That's the band.
Band
Yep.
is playing.
That's us. That's Stevie Ray himself right there. Okay. Go on.
The gift that keeps on giving.
I love that picture.
I peaked. It's been downhill since then.
Oh, I'm glad we found that picture.
So's Vito.
All right, got it.
In a town called San Antonio.
Okay. So that's it.
Yay!
By the way, the CD is on sale, $8.99 on Amazon.
It's a great CD too.
How much royalties do you make off that? I make $0 royalties. The bass player of our band was the one who put that up. He died a couple of years ago, so I don't know if anybody's making royalties on it anymore. But there were probably 0 royalties to be made except for the $8.99 purchase.
Oh, no, why did you point to this?
I have.
Yeah. All right, so, David.